Hello boys and girls. Today I'm coming to you from Epcot and I wanted to work with you today on adding and subtracting with regrouping, as well as some other skills with equations and some unknowns. So if you have time to grab your packet, great. You're going to be looking at this page right here. You can see on the screen, hopefully. Oh, my vision just went blurry. It says multiply by multiples of 10, which we did last week. And the next page is operations and equations, page 1 of 2. So go ahead and grab that and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you now. Let's see. Okay, I cannot do that. So I'm going to go to share screen. We're going to do whiteboard. All right. So I don't know if you guys know this, but this has really been my first time. My first time doing these videos. And learning how to create video lessons has been a really big challenge for me. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me and just working and doing our best. So we're going to close this out and I'm going to pull up my ladybug here, my document camera. Go ahead and on your paper, I want you to start writing your I can add and subtract with regrouping. So go ahead and write that. I can add and subtract with regrouping. So obviously I wrote in cursive, but I will go back and add in this in print. You should see it at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so if you are on this page, looks just like this. I'm going to just do a couple of these problems, so feel free to write those on your paper or to go ahead and start them on this worksheet. If you don't have the worksheet, just continue to follow along with me. All right, so problem 1 on page 121, we're going to start with 427 plus 92. This is pretty basic, and we're just going to start in the ones place first. So I know that 7 plus 2, 7, 8, 9, if you want to use the touch math. 9 right here. Then I'm going to move to the tens. 2 tens plus 9 tens. 9, 10, 11. Put down a 1 and carry a 1. And then 4 plus 1 is 5. So 519 is the first problem. Alrighty, let's do another addition. We're going to go to the second problem on this line. 728 plus 436. So we're going to start in the ones place. When we add and subtract, we start in the ones place. Okay, so 8 plus 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to put down my 4 and carry my 10. Moving to the tens, we're going to add 1 plus 2, which is 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. Fairly easy, just using our doubles facts. Moving to the hundreds, we have 7 hundreds plus 4 hundreds. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can see that I'm using my touch math. If you'd like to know more about how to do those dots to help you with your adding and subtracting, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll be glad to do a video for you on that or meet with you privately to help you with that skill. All right, so we have 1,164. Okay, so adding seems to be really easy for most of you guys. It's just the regrouping part that we've been working on, but you guys seem to be doing great with that. So we're going to move in and just review subtracting really quick. So we're on the second line, and we're going to stay on the first line because I see a problem that would be really good for us to practice. It's 500 minus 150. So when I start in the ones, 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 5, we cannot take 0 tens from 5. 0 tens can't take away 5 tens. So we must go to the hundreds. Change the 500 to a 400. You're regrouping and changing this 0 to a 10. We have 10 tens now, minus 5 tens is 5, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So you should get the answer of 350. Okay, if you're following along, we're going to jump down to the bottom. We're going to do the problem 964 minus 528. Now remember, if you don't have the worksheet, you can just follow along right with me. Pause your screen at any time to get caught up. I know I'd write fast, so you just use your space bar to pause, or you can tap your screen to pause and get caught up and really think about the problems, or you can try to solve them and then listen to me teach them to see if you are correct. Make sure you correct your answers and continue to do your work as well. All right, so 8 minus 4, oh, I'm sorry, 4 minus 8, what am I doing? 4 minus 8, 4 cannot take away 8. So we must go to the tens and regroup. We change 6 tens to 5 tens, change the 4, we're adding a 10 to it, and that becomes 14. 14 minus 8, so then I'm just going to use what I know about 8, and I'm going to count up 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you can see that I have 6. The difference is 6 because 8 plus 6 is 14. I could have also counted back until I heard myself say 8, or I could have made the 8 dots. So 14 minus 8 is 6. I just used adding to solve this problem. 5 minus 2. Well, it's 5 tens minus 2 tens. 5, 4, 3. So we have 3 tens. 9 minus 5. Knowing what you know about 9, we all know that 5 plus 4 is 9, or if we want to double check, we can use the touch points. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So if you're curious about those dot points, this is a good time for you to pause the screen and practice putting the dots on these numbers. All right, so that's it for adding and subtracting with regrouping as far as a quick review. Now we're going to go into figuring out if equations are greater than or less than each other. So our second I can for this lesson, I can evaluate equations. And then I'm going to put this greater than, less than, equal to. All right. So if you're following along on your worksheet, we're going to be right here in this section. If you remember, if you don't have the worksheet, just make sure that you're writing this down on your notebook and then you send me a picture of your notebook paper. All right, so we're going to start with, we're going to call this number 2. It's our second set of problems. We're going to start with that first one is 36 plus 4. And we're going to compare, and I like to draw circles because then my students know when I do this on the board, that means to add in one of these evaluation signs. We're going to compare that to 26 plus 20. So go ahead and pause your screen and see if you can use the rewrite the problem strategy. If you don't know what I mean by that, then when we come back, I will explain. All right, friends, so let's get started. We have 36 plus 4, and when we're going to do this, it's just if we were just thinking about it just like this, okay? So 36 plus 4, I know that 6 and 4 make a 10. So 10 plus 30 is 40. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. Say it. Good. And so that's when you guys would say that back in class to me. I really miss teaching you guys. All right, so then 40 is right here. And then I'm going to bring this down as well. This tells me what I need to evaluate. And then I'm going to add these two numbers together. So I have 26 plus 2 more 10s, which would be 46. So I rewrite the problem, and I get 46. So now I can compare like we would if we were just comparing numbers with equations. Okay, so like normal, we've done this plenty of times. So 40 or 46, which one's bigger? 46, good. And so we're going to say 40 is less than 46. So less than. Remember, we read from left to right. So if the mouth is opening this way, right, it's greater than. And if it's opening this way, we read it as less than. Okay? All right, so let's do a couple of more like that before we move on. All righty, so our next problem like that is 5 times 8. So we're moving into some multiplication here. Greater than, less than, or equal to 10 times 3. All right, friends, what is 5 times 8? Okay, there's a couple strategies we can use here. So when multiplying by 5s, we can think about, instead of 5 times 8, I could think about 10 times 4, because there are 2 5s in every 10. So in my think bubble, I could think about that. If you half this factor and multiply it by 10, it's going to be equal the same as if you doubled the factor and multiplied it by 5. All right, so 5 times 8 is 40. You could also count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could also count up by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, so a lot of you know the strategy of multiplying by 5s, but I just wanted to give you a quick reminder on that. All right, so we have 40, and now we're going to greater than, less than, or equal to, and then we're going to do the same over here. 10 times 3, 10, 20, 30. This really literally means 10 groups of 3. So we would put 10 dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cheryl's going to run out of space here. And then we put this factor in each one to do repeated addition. Or we could flip it and use the commutative property to make it less adding, and we could flip and we could do, or we could think about 3 groups of 10, which is the same as 10 plus 10 plus 10. Okay, so 10 times 3 is the same as 30. Now, even if you already know these problems, it's important to listen carefully, because I'm going to remind you of some of the strategies you can use for if you get to a multiplication problem that you can't remember. So that's why listening carefully, even if you already memorized the answer to these, it would remind you of some of the strategies. So if you get to a problem you don't know, you can use your repeated addition, properties of multiplication. You could use your skip counting. You could also draw pictures. So as we go through these lessons, it's really important, boys and girls, that you watch to the end of the video. All right, so 40 compared to 30, 40 is greater than 30. Remember, if you don't have the worksheet, just go ahead and do this on your paper. Pause it at any time if you need more time. All right, there are some challenge problems here. So you do them the same way, but you might want to set them up in an algorithm form. And then you're going to compare them. And we have time to do one more problem. We're going to do this. It says, pick the equation that will help you solve the problem. Then solve the problem. Jake found 32 shells on the beach. He gave half of them to his brother. Then his sister gave Jake 18 more shells. How many shells does Jake have now? So before I even look at any of the choices, I'm just going to write down some information, because it does tell me that I have to solve. So might as well go ahead and write them down. This is problem number 3. And we are using our adding and subtracting and comparing skills all together with word problems. All right, so for number 3, it says Jake has 32 shells. So first he has 32 shells. Then it says he gave half of them to his brother. So we're going to give minus half. And then it says his sister gave him 18 more. So then we would say then plus 18. Okay, so this is kind of an easy way just to think about what's happening in the problem. So if I have 32 minus half, so what is half? 1/2 of 32. So I'm going to take 32 and I'm going to divide it in half. If I think about breaking apart 30, it would be 15 and 15. Yes? And if I think about breaking apart 2, it would just be 1 and 1. So half is 15 plus 1. So I'm going to explain that one more time. So what I did to figure out what half of 32 was is I broke it into 30 and 2. So let me write this out. I took 30 plus 2. I thought about it in expanded form, breaking it apart. And then I know that 30 in a number bond is the same as 15 and 15. So half of 30 would be 15. Then I did the same thing with 2. Half of 2 is 1. So 1/2 of 32 is the same as 16. So half would be 16. All right, so I can say 32 minus 16. Go ahead and pause the screen and try this part on your own. All right, so now that we're back, let's look. We can't take 6 from 2. 2 minus 6 doesn't work, so we need to borrow or regroup from the tens. Change this to 2 tens, and 2 now gets added a 10 to it, so we have 12. 12 minus 6 is a double fact, so we have 6 here, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So we're at 16 shells. So now we have 16 shells, and then the sister gave him 18 more. So now we add 16 plus 18. So 8 plus 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Use your fingers or your toes, just not the boogers in your nose. Okay, so now 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So we have 34 shells. So looking back at my question, it says, how many shells does Jake have now? We would say Jake has 34 shells now. I like this problem because it was very kind of Jake to give half of them to his brother, and then his sister gave him 18 more. So in the end, he actually wound up with 2 more than he originally started with. See? Kindness pays. All right, so now let's look at our equation. So which one of these equations goes along with what we just worked on? 32 times 2 plus 18? No, because multiplication means that we're adding. And what we did was we took away, right? We found what was half, which means we had to take away. So division is the same. So let's look here. 32 times 2, nope. So it must be this, 32 divided by 2. This is exactly what we did. We broke it into 2 equal parts. And then we added 18. So my answer would be this equation right here. So I'm going to show you what that equation would look like if you were just to write it out like that. So as you get more comfortable with these multi-step word problems with using multiplication and division, you might have originally started out with this. 32 divided by 2, because it gave half away, plus 18. And I can show you how that would look. So if you took 32 and you broke them into 2 equal parts, you rewrite the problem and you get 16 plus 18 equals 34. So that's all for this lesson, boys and girls. You have 2 more problems like this. They are on operations and equations right here on this page. It's page 122. It has a little house right here, and it says Bridges in Mathematics, Grade 3, Home Connections. So you would answer the problems on number 4. It's the same kind of thing. Go ahead and finish this page, and then you're going to make sure that you take pictures of your work. You can do them all at once at the end of the week, or if you only have your workbook pages, your math sheets that we just did together, you can send me those as well. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in and staying to the end of the lesson. Have a wonderful afternoon and enjoy the sunshine. Hope it's sunny on this Thursday when you watch this.